Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Jason here with a brand new game from Hello Games, the people who made No Man's Sky and work on No Man's Sky. They have a brand new game coming out. We don't know when. I'm assuming next year, but we don't know. Called Light No Fire. Guys, I am so pumped up about this. We just had it announced at the Game Awards on Thursday, December 7th. So let's jump into everything we know so far about Light No Fire. So you can go to lightnofire.com. This is their website right here. We scroll down. Light No Fire is a game about adventure, building, survival, and exploration together. Set on a fantasy planet the size of Earth, it brings the depth of a role-playing game to the freedom of a survival sandbox. I mean, look at this art. Look at all this stuff. Look at this. It's a fantasy game. It's like, you can call it a medieval game or like a high fantasy. Look at that. Oh, that's so cool looking. So let's just keep going down here. From the creators of No Man's Sky. And we have this one, you know, just some screenshots if you want to see that. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. This is very reminiscent of No Man's Sky. So we're going to see that theme throughout a lot of the screenshots and the trailer they put out. It looks like a fantasy version of No Man's Sky, and I am really, really digging it. So let's jump over to the Steam page. Over on Steam, they have a page up. There you go. So we have this, and you can get a little bit more detail from here. Now, they run the trailer. We're going to run into that at the end of the video because I want to go over some of the details I saw and what I noticed about it. But coming in here, Light No Fire is a game about adventure, building, survival, and exploration together. We kind of read all this stuff. A multiplayer Earth. Carve a life together. Meet players from across the globe, building a life, explore, and survive together. Construct persistent buildings and communities. Persistent meaning if you build something, I can find it and I can see it in the game. Or strike out alone to discover the world for others. So again, it sounds like we are sharing our discoveries just like in No Man's Sky, where if you find something, you can upload it to the servers and it's identified by you. It'd say, hey, Jason found this item, which is very, very awesome. A procedural Earth, a truly open world with no boundaries at a scale never attempted before. A massive, varied, and dense planet filled with immersive biomes, unique enemies, and valuable resources to discover. So, unlike No Man's Sky, where you have a ton of million kajillion planets out there, this is one planet, but it is extremely varied and massive, massive, massive. So I'm thinking it is basically an unlimited world that you can run around, and all the biomes are all varied. So instead of having like a hot planet and a cold planet and a radiation planet like in No Man's Sky, you will have like a snowy biome that you run through, and then if you keep going, you'll run into a desert, or you'll run into a radiation filled area or a swamp area or whatever. They'll be in a row, so you can camp out in your one area that you prefer instead of trying to find a different planet. A fantasy Earth. Light No Fire presents you with an ancient Earth to uncover. One where you're not the hero, thick with lore, mystery, and a constant fight for survival. Inspired by the adventure, charm, and imagination that we love from classic fantasy. So there is going to be story elements. If I had to guess, they're going to treat it like they do with No Man's Sky. So the main focus of this game will probably, and this is all speculation from me, it will probably be the exploration, building, survival aspect of the game. However, they will have a single player, like a story-driven quest line that you can follow, just like the Artemis quest line, where you can go explore and they kind of teach you about the world. Or if you want to, just go out on your own and you're good to go. An unexplored Earth. Every mountain can be climbed, and below them lies endless vistas, oceans, and continents perhaps no others have seen. Who will climb the tallest mountains? Who will find the deepest sea? Set sail across the vast oceans and rivers, ride wild beasts throughout the fantastical landscapes, fly dragons over undiscovered landscapes. So, dude, I am so excited for this. It sounds like an amazing evolution of the No Man's Sky formula that I really am really excited about. And they put on a fantasy like skin on it, so it is like medieval, like bows and arrows kind of deal. It's not futuristic or anything like that. So let's jump into the trailer that they posted, and it is freaking phenomenal. So here's the beginning of the trailer. I love this thing. And now I'm not going to play the music behind it. If you want to, I will link the trailer down below in the description so you can get the full breadth of it. You can get all of the aspects together. We're just going to kind of watch it, and I'm going to comment on what I've seen and what I've kind of caught on, and maybe, you know, some thread lines from No Man's Sky in this new game, Light No Fire. So the first thing, right from the get-go, second one, you have 4 characters, and they're all different. You have a bunny character. You have a character that looks like it has horns on it. So there is going to be, from what it looks like, character customization just like No Man's Sky. You choose your race, whatever that happens to be, and you can put on capes, cloaks, whatever you want, and you'll see there is a huge variety of character customization in this game. So as we're progressing through a multiplayer Earth, right here, boom, look at this. Immediately, you're riding animals. So instead of using exocraft like in No Man's Sky where you have all the same stuff, you're going to see a whole bunch of different mounts, either on foot or in the air. They have flying like dragons, like they mentioned earlier. Different mounts you can get onto, and it is freaking awesome looking. So let's get in here. A procedural Earth, a fantasy Earth. You see right here, we have some enemies. You have a huge, like a big skeleton, but you also have these little tiny skeletons underneath, which is very awesome. So there's going to be a variety of different sizes and different types of enemies. Moving on. There we go. Boom. An unexplored Earth. Now, the first thing I thought of when I saw this big orb over on the right-hand side of the screen, that looks like a planetary archive. So what if that is like a central hub location? Like, this is all medieval. This is all going to be fantasy and ancient Earth. So it's not going to be a big old like planetary archive, but it will be something. It could be something like that's where a big town is or a big city is that you find randomly throughout the world as you run around. Going in here again. Oh, wait a minute. Go back a little bit. Again, you have your 4 different characters, just like in No Man's Sky. A lot of the trailers you see for No Man's Sky, they always show 4 different characters like cooperatively running through the world. And look at that weapon. We have a glowing blue hammer on the back of this wolf type character on the left. Very awesome. So a lot of the weapons look like they're going to be more melee focused. You have bows and arrows. I don't know if it's going to be really in depth with that kind of combat, but it's going to have bows and arrows. We have what we see as like hammers and more melee focused weapons instead of a multi-tool that has like ammunition for weapons like a pulse rifle or whatever. That is very cool. So it's more melee focused versus the ranged focus of No Man's Sky. Then we have our water. Look at this. Now, at first when I saw this, number 1, crashed ship underneath the water, just like in No Man's Sky where you can find stuff underwater. But look at how thick it is down here. So in No Man's Sky, you kind of run into some underwater areas that are very barren. Like there's some plants there, but it's not really thick. This has a lot of everything, flora, fauna, all that kind of stuff. And while we have this paused, look at the top left-hand side of the screen. You see these 4 white circles? I'm assuming this is going to be your health bar. Just like in No Man's Sky, we have our circular health bars at the top left, and we also have that shield bar. Of course, if it's a fantasy game, if it's a medieval ancient game, you're not going to have shields in that. But that is very, very awesome. And if you look down at the bottom left-hand side of the screen, look at that. We have a compass, and we also have, it looks like a whale at the top of that circle at the bottom of the screen right there. That feels like it's telling you you're underwater. Very, very awesome. And that could be an oxygen gauge that way you can see if you're running out of your breath or if you're hot or cold. This could be, the bottom left could be your environmental protection, like telling you, hey, it's too hot, or hey, it's too cold, or you're running out of oxygen. Something like that. Very, very awesome. And then the bottom right-hand side of the screen, you see we have a torch type weapon, it looks like. So that is going to be our whatever we have equipped. Very, very cool. Anyway, let's keep going through here. But I mean, look at, oh, the animation, boom. Look at that swim animation on the left-hand side of the screen. That is a brand new animation. The one at the bottom, you see the one at the bottom, the red? That character is doing a more traditional No Man's Sky swim, whereas the one on the top left is really, that's awesome. They are overhauling underwater travel and animations, which is really, really cool. And then if we just let this trailer play, you're going to realize we are in first-person mode. So you're able to switch between first and third person, because we've also had third-person cameras in the previously while you're running around. But let's go over here. Let's go back to these flashes. But number one, look at all of this. Look at how dense the grass and everything is. That reminds me, that looks like No Man's Sky like art, but it is way more crisp, more clean, more colorful. I am really digging that. And we have our first flash coming up here. Boom. Look at that. That is a staff. That is what we just got in No Man's Sky. We have staffs or staves in No Man's Sky right now. And it looks like you can get a staff in Light No Fire, the new game. Look at that. And it's a winter biome, so it's all snowy around here. That is really, really cool. And there's a floating cube. I don't know what that means. What is that? We don't know. Look at, we have a glider. Look at this. Glider. There's going to be multiple avenues for you to use. We have flying mounts. They have ladder or gliders. They also have running mounts like horses and things like that. Next one. Look at that. Okay, we have our first, individual mount right there. Look at that. Big raven animals. Again, it's a fantasy themed game. And so you have like a bunny over on the left or right hand side of the screen. That is, it looks like it's a race of character you can choose to be. Is that bunny rabbit or rabbit, whatever you want to call it. Then we have that shot again. Look at this mountain. That really reminds me that the clouds and the mountain in the distance, that is very Skyrim-esque, which is really, really cool. Let's continue on. Now we're in third person. You see, we're in third person, or we're looking at a character right there in third person. And we have a character over on the right-hand side chopping down a tree to collect materials. Because, again, not No Man's Sky, so they don't have multi-tools. You have to probably make your own tools, and you have to farm your wood so you can build your bases. And we have a base right there. They are building with stone. So, and that animation is so smooth. Look at that animation. Boom, where the wall is just being erected, just kind of like clips into place. Very, very awesome. But you see, over on the right-hand side of the screen, number one, you have a sign, so there's going to be some kind of a base building component to the game. But also, as we go a little bit forward, there's a pot here. Can we use the pot to cook? I have no idea. Look at that. Oh, hummingbird. So this is going to be our second mount that we've seen. A huge blue hummingbird looking animal. Maybe it's just a regular bird, but that beak looks like a hummingbird, which is really, really cool. And look at that base in the distance right there, that house. That looks really, really cool. That is like a Beeblebum level of building. I'm not going to be able to build anything like that, but It is very, very cool looking. Oh, we got more flashes here, so let's get back in here. So we have boats. Look at this. This reminds me of Valheim. I've been playing a lot of Valheim lately, so that might be why I'm thinking Valheim. But look at the boats right here. That is crazy cool looking. And again, look at that. We have another race of, like, it looks like badgers. The character that's on the boat right in front of our, on the right-hand side right there, boom. That looks like a badger character. So we have more animal-based races that you can choose to play as, or you can be a human being. Very, very cool. Water, stuff like that. Oh, range combat. It looks like they're hunting like animals, probably to get either meat or leather or whatever. Range combat with bow and arrows. And there's, look at 5 people on screen right there. So it is open world and massive world, just like in No Man's Sky, where you have a whole bunch of characters running all over the place. We'll have a whole bunch of characters running all over the place in Light No Fire. We have another, oh, look at this crab right there. Boom. Wait a minute. Back it up. There's a crab creature, and we have a sword that's on fire. I mean, I don't know if that's a flame sword, or maybe it's some kind of like a buff you can put on your sword, like to ignite it so it does flame damage. Oh yeah, we have a massive creature. Is that going to be a boss battle in the game later on? No idea, but I am super freaking pumped about it. Look at that. Boom. And this is where we see one of my favorite ones. Look at this. We have dragon mount that we're getting on. And again, we're in third person now, so our character is in third person, and that is a huge freaking dragon. And I will point out, this is the same animation we use for No Man's Sky. So if I had to guess, I'm assuming this is probably a very, very either modified or a really heavily adjusted engine that they use for No Man's Sky as well, because the animations, a lot of the details, the textures are very reminiscent of No Man's Sky, at least to me. But this animation getting on the dragon is very similar to the animation you use when you get into your starship in No Man's Sky. So it is just literally hop on and then zoom back out, just like in No Man's Sky. And that camera angle is very similar to the No Man's Sky camera angle. You can probably match up a starship where your mount is, where the dragon is. Very similar camera angle. And look, we're flying. And the other thing I want to point out is, look at the draw distance. The draw distance on this is insanely good. Like, we have a lot of trees popping, in the environment already. They're not popping in like they do in No Man's Sky. So this could be a benefit of they're only doing one planet, so they don't have to worry about loading in a planet and then removing that planet from the texture from your RAM. It's always in here, so you don't have to worry about constantly changing out if you're on a cold planet or a hot planet or whatever. That draw distance is so freaking good. Look at that. And then we have little rafts down here, so I'm assuming that we have different levels of crafting, just like in Valheim. When you first start out, you get the little tiny raft like we see on the screen right here. And then eventually, when you get farther along or you get better materials or you level your character, you're able to build the more advanced boats, the larger boats that can carry more. Yeah, look at that. That's so good. Nope, we have more flashes here. Again, look at that dragon. That is so cool. Big old dragon. A huge variety of different animals you can ride, different mounts. We have our character here. Look at it, a character with horns. So I'm guessing that's going to be either a reindeer or like a moose race or something like that. The big theme, it seems like, is a lot of the interaction you have are between animal type creatures, either the race you play as or you talk to, or the mounts and things that you find in the world. Look at this. Look at this. That is some really beautiful looking environments. Look at that. And we have another one right here. Boom. Flying up and over a mountain. So In the interview that Sean Murray gave to Jeff Keighley at the Game Awards, he said they want to make a Mount Everest in this game, like constantly just have these huge, massive mountains that you can climb and you can explore, or you can just skip over like this, just fly right by it and go to a different area if you'd like. But look at that. Wait a minute. There's probably a reason to climb these mountains. You see over on the left-hand side, there's that huge pillar. It looks like it could be a flame, or maybe it's a huge like location you can go in and find loot or treasure or something like that. Holy cow, we have a floating, wait a minute, let's go back. We have a floating monolith looking thing at the top left-hand side of the screen. Maybe you can only get to those when you have flying mounts. So in the beginning of the game, you don't have one. You have to earn it or get it later on. This game, it looks gorgeous. I am really in love with this game. And just the style of it. The characters, the world. Yeah, look at that. Boom. Look at that. That almost looks like a base, actually. So I would take it back. Maybe that's someone who built a base. Because, yeah, I mean, that could be just like in No Man's Sky. You can build up in the air, and you don't have to worry about gravity pulling your items down. So we're about to get some flashes here. So boom, our character's walking through the world. Again, look at that fire. Look at this, the art style. And this looks like more of a wolf character or a cat character. You see from the tail and the ears on the character. Very, very awesome. Let's look around here. Oh yeah, and then we have this right here. So there's some kind of a weird environmental like thing. Look at that glow. So this huge creature, is that a boss creature? Is that a boss battle about to take place? What is that? I have no idea, but that's very interesting. We have a desert biome here, so this is more dry and like cactusy looking. Oh my god, it looks so good. Running through, and wait a minute, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 character, 5 characters. That's 6 actually, 6. So we have 4 in the front, our character, and then the one on the left. Maybe 7 if you count the flying dragon. So they're getting a lot of people or characters on the screen, which is really, really awesome. Just make sure we got all that. Look at that, boom, the desert biome. Oh yeah, and then we have, this looks like a story element. When I saw this the first time, I said, okay, this looks like a story thing. Because there's a lot of these characters, these bunnies, they all look very similar. And they're all like kneeling down. Like this is a story piece. Like you walk into here and you have to talk to someone. And these are all NPCs. So it's a place that maybe it's a market, maybe it's a town you go and visit. But also look at the shield on the bunny character in the center of the screen right there. That looks really, really awesome. Very, very fantasy, medieval looking. Very, very cool. But yeah, so I think all these bunnies that are kneeling are NPCs. As you arrive, they're kind of like, oh, you know, maybe you're a hero or a chosen one or whatever. Even though they say you're not a hero, I have a feeling you might be one in the beginning, and then they slowly find out that you're not. So we have that, and then we have this goblin character over here on the right there, over on the throne on the left. Again, and it looks like a massive character. It also looks like an NPC that you would talk to, maybe to get missions or to further along story or mission progress in the game. Very, very cool. And then we have flying again through a more. Look at the fog in this game. Like, I don't remember seeing that in No Man's Sky, like, at all, like, or to that degree. As you're flying along, we have this cool medieval, like, fog that is covering. And again, look at how many trees are in the environment as you're flying along. No Man's Sky could not render in that many trees. It makes me think that this is going to be a only next generation game. It's not going to be on like older systems like a PS4 or an Xbox One or anything like that, or the Switch. This feels like it's going to take a lot of power to run because it's rendering so much in here. It is ridiculous. Look at all that. Look at this vista. Look at that. Look at that shot. Look at how many trees are there. It is ridiculous. And again, we see one of those big spheres, and now we can see the base of it. That looks like what we would call a planetary archive in No Man's Sky. And I think it's speculation, no idea. Maybe it's something similar in Light No Fire, where it's just like a base of operations. It's like that's where the city or the towns are in the world. So it's all like open area. There's nothing out here in the forest. You know, there's animals, there's things like that to collect materials, but the big cities are in these gigantic monolith-looking structures. And then we have this. This is the final like animation. This looks like a cinematic of some kind of a structure. And as you pull out, that looks just like the Atlas from No Man's Sky. Like if you look at the animation for the end of a No Man's Sky trailer and you compare it to that, that is very similar. So maybe that is like the story-driven aspect, is we're trying to find this red stone, whatever that's going to be called in this game. Guys, I am so pumped up. This game looks like a huge evolution of what we thought No Man's Sky was going to be, or what it could be. I am so pumped. This game looks amazing. There's no date on it. Like if we go in here to the on their website, you know, release date is TBC, so to be determined. Platform to be determined. Again, I'm assuming this is not going to be on Xbox One or PS4. This is only going to be on next gen systems, PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. So there we go. Guys, I am so excited. That's all we know for now. I have a really strong feeling that once January and February hit, we're gonna hear more about Light No Fire. But as of right now, that's all we got. So hopefully you guys liked the video. If you did, hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time.